Hey guys, it's Jimbo's Grapes here with another video. I just made one, but I feel like I didn't do a very good job of it, so I'm just going to redo it quickly. Um, this video is going to be primarily how to make Nick, and make it fast and easy, and basically get yourself to the point where you can start affording stuff off the market. Especially on Farmer server right now. The server just started. There's a lot of people that are struggling with this. There's people that are mining for nickels, and yeah, just not really able to afford the stuff in order to start progressing and actually be able to do some of the more advanced farming stuff in the game. So the way that the what I found is the best way to make Nick, especially at the start of the game, is to do assignments. Um, so the one thing about assignments, and if you're just starting off, doing combat assignments from level 1 to 2 up to 3 is not that bad. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not that bad. But you're going to notice that the Nick isn't very good, and once you start getting into the tier 4, 5, and 6 levels, it's extremely difficult. You're fighting a bunch of mechs at once, and a lot of the times you don't really have the resources yet to buy something that could even combat that. So the way that you circumvent that or get around it is to do harvesting missions. Um, you could do transport missions, but they take a really long time. And again, once you get up to the higher levels, even an MK2 Scarab is going to have to do multiple trips. Scarab has an MK2 Scarab has 900 units of cargo, and it still needs to do multiple trips in order to do some of these high-end transport missions. So it's not that great. I found um, complex production I haven't really bothered with. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I haven't really messed around with it that much. Combat exploration is kind of the same thing as combat. It gets really difficult. Mining, I mean, yeah, mining theoretically could be good, but there's 5 different ores. So unless you've got all 5 ores right next to your terminal, it's going to be a lot of moving around in order to get all the stuff for this. So I would say harvesting is by far the best. And the reason for that is because you can find a terminal where the 2 native plants to your island are right next to it. So that's exactly what I've got right here. I'm on Shinjalar right now. I'm not hiding any of this. I don't go to this terminal anymore. So the main thing you want to do is you want to explore the islands, and there's terminals like this on every single island. Every single island. Um, as you can see, there's tons of terminals everywhere. Got a couple waypoints here and there, but there's terminals everywhere, and it's on every single island that I've ever gone to. I've found terminals where there's been both plants, fairly close to the terminal. So for this one, just up here, I've got the Triandulus, and then I've got a waypoint here just so it's a little bit quicker. Because when I do these, I do 50 to 150 to 200 of these missions at a time. So it's makes it a little bit nicer if you just create a couple waypoints for yourself. Then that way you can just click here. You don't have to be searching around and doing stuff. But anyway, so I've got these two plants right next to the terminal, and as long as I've got the proper bot and proper know-how, I am ready to go to front of these plants. So that's the first thing you need. You need a terminal with the 2 plants next to it. So you can explore with a fast bot, you can explore with a harvesting bot itself, but just go and look at the terminals and try to find one that's got both plants next to it. So the next thing that you're going to need is a robot. So one of the best robots for this starting out is the Laird, and then also there's a Syndicate robot, which you'll be a little bit more hard pressed to get, but if you just see it on the market, you might as well. I believe it was the Cronus. Yeah, this guy. So either of these markets are fine for starting off. This guy, he's super cheap. He's like 20 of each token, and I don't know, 750,000 Nick. So a couple missions, and this is something that you can buy, same as this guy, Laird. They're super simple bots to get. Cronus is a little bit better. It's got an extra slot for an extra harvester, but effectively for doing the starting missions, either one's going to be fine. Either one you can do a couple missions on and jump right into a gargoyle. Get your first 10 million nick or whatever you need to buy a gargoyle on your server, and you should be good to go. So both of these guys have got harvested amount increased, and harvested amount increased is the most important thing for doing this. So how harvesting works is each plant has a base value. So the three main plants, Triandalus, Prismaceae, and Heliopteris, I don't know how to say them. It doesn't matter. You guys know what I'm talking about. The three plants all have a base value of, I believe, 450. So no matter what type of harvester you're using, as long as you target it and cycle on it, it will give you 450. This is for small harvesters and medium harvesters. The only difference between the different types of harvesters is how fast they go, but they all mine the same amount. So what you want to do is get whatever harvester you can get your hands on, tier 1 or tier 4 or medium, doesn't matter, they're all the same, and get your amount increased up as much as possible. So right now, on this one, and this is as high as you can get, I've got 1,115% increased mind. This doesn't include the bonus from the extension for specific plants, and I'll show that in a second. So what you want to do is get one of these bots, fill it with industrial tunings, accumulator rechargers, a lightweight frame, and whatever type of harvester you can fit with accumulator and CPU and reactor that you can. So the goal in order to get better at this is to work your way up to a gargoyle and eventually a gargoyle MK2, which is in my opinion the best bot for this. There is a heavy mech for harvesting called the Symbiote. It's got an extra industrial chassis for an extra harvester, but the thing is typically when you're doing this, you're gonna have to use 2 cycles, even on the tier 5 missions anyways, with either bot, and the gargoyle is a little bit faster moving around. So if you have to do a bit of traveling to get to your plants, I prefer the speed, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. Um, I would say the gargoyle and the symbiote, there's advantages and disadvantages to each, but you'd be hard pressed to argue one over the other. I prefer the gargoyle because it's faster, but some people might prefer the symbiote because you get a few extra resources out of it. But as far as the missions go, I think the gargoyle is a bit faster. So once you've got your robot, and on farmer server you start with 1,000,000 EP. On other servers you might have to work your way up to this. The next thing that you're going to want is to look at is your extensions. So the main extensions that you want are in mineral extraction. The intensive harvesting you don't have to worry about. It reduces cycle time, so you will go faster, but it's not as important. Efficient harvesting you will need. It reduces your accumulator consumption. I would say get it up to 8 if you can. 10 is better, obviously. I've got all mine to 10 because I do this a lot. So if this is something that you're going to be doing a lot, you're going to want to get them to 10. And the last thing you're going to want is your extensive harvesting of the specific plants that you want. So what that means is every type of island has 2 native plants to it. There's 3 different types of main plants. Neuralgus is another plant, but you have to plant those yourself. So there's 3 different types of plant. There's Prismaceae, Triandalus, and Heliopteris. Heliopteris right here. So depending on which island you're doing this on, I have 3 accounts that I do this on. I've got one for each different type of island in order to get all the tokens that I need. For Theladoca Islands, that's the red islands or yellow islands, whatever you want to call them, there's Prismaceae and Triandalus. On the green islands, there's Heliopteris and Triandalus. And on the blue islands, there's Prismaceae and Heliopteris. If you can, pick an island with Prismaceae. The reason for that is because this guy, the plants naturally grow to have higher cycles. So Triandalus and Heliopteris only grow to be 50. On Beta Islands, they grow to be 100, whereas Prismaceae grows to be 75 on Beta Islands 150. That means while you're doing your missions, the closer plants will have more charges, which means you can go to the closer plants more often and utilize them longer than you can the other ones. So when you actually get out and do this yourself, you'll understand what I mean a little bit better. But if you can, pick an island with Prismosity, just because it is a little bit more advantageous than the other ones, unless you really want to go green. There's obviously a bunch of advantages to going to the green islands, but it just depends what you want. The islands, if you were doing this specifically and only this for money, then the blue and the red islands, or the blue and the yellow islands, are a little bit better because they have Prismosity on them, whereas the green ones don't. So yeah, you're going to want to get those up. They give you an extra 30%. So again, this 1,115 here doesn't actually include this 30%. So if I've got my 1115 here times by 1.3, and really it's more than this because it's actually 1.03 to the power of 10, which is actually quite a lot more. But I've got basically 15, 16 times the amount harvested right now. So my 450, I'm actually harvesting about 6,750. I believe I'm actually doing more than that, but well, now I've got my 4 harvesters, so I times that by 4. I'm getting 27,000 mined per shot. Something's up with that though, because I think I'm actually getting closer to 50,000 a shot, so somewhere I'm missing something, but it doesn't really matter. Basically, you guys can know that I'm getting about 50,000 a shot. So somewhere my math is messed up there, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now that we've got that all out of the way, we've got the extensions, we've got the setup that you need for your bot. So you want industrial tunings, harvesters, accumulators, and a lightweight frame. We've got the location that you need. You need a field terminal with at least one of each plant by it. Last thing, very simple, just go in and do your harvesting missions. So I've got waypoints set up here because they're a bit further away. So it says I need Prismosity. Double click on here because I've got that set up already. You guys can do that too. You just go to your map. A little bit laggy right now because I'm recording. Zoom in as much as you can, and then you just right click. So once you're in a spot that you want, you just try to right click right in the middle of your guy. Create waypoint, create yourself a little waypoint, and you're good to go. So I've got this already targeted. Again, I got 56,000 there for 4 shots. Pick up your harvesting log, and that's all that there is to it. So when I do this, the last thing I'm going to want to tell you guys is on beta islands, which obviously is more risky. You can die, so there's always that. But on beta islands, you get twice as much nick and twice as much EP. So on beta islands, when I do this, once I've got the 5 times multiplier, my missions are giving me 1.5 to 3 million each. And if you saw that there, that mission took what, 45 seconds? So, say one mission a minute, 60 minutes. So we got 60 minutes times by 1.5 million. I'm making 90 million nick an hour. And I know that I'm making more than that, but this is a low ball. So I'm making 90 million nick an hour doing this. Okay? So if you guys are having trouble making nick, start with a laird, work your way up, get your missions. You can make 10 million to start off with very easily. The lower assignments, you get a lot of reputation. So up to level 3, you should have no problem getting here. And once you're doing level 3 missions, I'll just show you. You don't need a lot. You need 43,000. So this is 1 or 2 shots with a laird. And what am I getting here? 228,000 nick. So, you do 10 of these in 10 minutes, you're going to be getting more than that because you'll get your bonus as well. So you'll be getting twice as much as this. So you do 10 of these in 10 minutes, you got about 5 million nick, 20 million. 20 minutes, you'll have about 10 million nick. You can afford a gargoyle. It's that simple. And then once you get a gargoyle, you can start doing the higher end missions really fast, and you'll be making hundreds of millions in no time. So I hope you guys found this useful. Again, it's just a quick way to make nick. The main thing is, again, just recapping, find a field terminal, have a proper setup, have your extensions up there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and go make Nick and buy all of my stuff like this. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next tutorial video. Hey guys, so I forgot to mention in the video one really important thing. I'm just killing some plants right now because I need to, and it's super laggy that I'm recording now, so maybe I'll just put that on hold for a second. But one really important thing that I forgot to mention was under the extensions. If this will ever load, is your relations. This is really important. Getting fieldcraft specialization and contract negotiation up will basically double or triple the amount of nick that you make. So if you're going to be doing this a lot, especially harvest missions or even combat missions, you're going to want to get these because they add a lot. Like I said, they basically double or triple the amount of nick that you make by getting these up to 10. So that's the last thing. Like I said, I forgot that it's really important. So if you were noticing you weren't getting as much nick, it might be because you don't have these. So yeah, contract negotiation adds 50% more to the bonus that you get, so that's 50% more right there. And fieldcraft specialization, when you have it up to 10, adds 20% more nick gained. So yeah, these are the two that you want. If you're doing combat missions, then combat specialization and contract negotiation. But contract negotiation, you're going to want to get up as high as you can. It's a really, really strong extension for making nick. So yep, I can't believe I forgot that, but there it is. So hope that helps, and see you guys later.